All right, I'm testing this out. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right, well, I guess I'm up. Hello, I see a lot of friends here. That's great. I'd like to thank my friends for welcoming me to your beautiful service. My name is Martinez, and really happy to be here today. I'm with the local organization that you're all supporting, Arroyos Foothills Conservancy. And what I'm going to share with you today, let me just check the time, make sure I don't go over. Okay. What I'm going to share with you is I'm going to share with you my story about how I got involved in local conservation in these efforts that you're all supporting today, and really what motivated me to have a place-based spirituality, which I think I'll be preaching to the choir here today. So I grew up here in Pasadena. This is me here in the beautiful Lower Arroyos Park when I was about 10 years old, and there are the beautiful willow trees that were done as part of a habitat restoration down there. We used to play in the water, play in the stream. My mom used to bring us down there as kids, and it really had a huge impression on me growing up. So I'm definitely a son of the Arroyos. I grew up right over here, and I love the place. I still live here. So definitely had a huge impact, planted seeds, as I say. And later on, I ended up exploring the beautiful hills, the San Rafael Hills, where I live here in Pasadena. You might look in West Pasadena above the Rose Bowl and the Central Arroyo and see those beautiful hills. Those are the hills I grew up in. So from a young age, probably when I was about 10 years old, some of my best friends who I grew up with up on our cul-de-sac, we slip under the county chain link fence and go explore our canyon, our beautiful place that we lived in, and go explore the deer trails. And a lot of that was actually the campus of the Art Center College of Design, and we'd follow all the little deer paths. And I was exploring these like little shrub oak woodlands and these really beautiful places. And it was just really a magical spot. In fact, I remember one of my most distinct memory of going up into our hills when I was about 9 years old, 9 or 10, that age. Because there was this big, menacing sort of county signs: no trespassing, you can't go up here, you're going to go to prison for 6 months, and you have to pay all these thousands of dollars if you go up here, right? And so, but my buddy Joey, he was kind of a rambunctious kid, kind of hyperactive kind of kid, and his mom just kind of let him run around a little more freely than my mom did. And so he would go up there all the time. His dog would go explore the hills, and one time I was actually, like to follow the rules, and I was kind of scared of being disciplined when I was that young. But okay, one day he gets me to go under the gate, and we slip under, and we're breaking the law, right? And we go up under the cul-de-sac, up into the hills, and just walking into that canyon, just getting into the woods right there. I remember as a young child, it blew my mind. There was a flowing stream. There was a stream gushing out of this canyon. I mean, just water gushing out. And of course, it went into the flood control facility, the cement thing, but just following that canyon up and seeing this stream, these little waterfalls gushing out from the hills. This is below the Art Center College. The only way I can describe it is magical. It was the most magical thing. I would dream about it. I mean, water gushing out of my own hills. I had a similar experience in Hahamonga Watershed Park when I was in about 4th grade. My elementary school in Pasadena here, they took us to the park, and it was the first time that I saw a natural flowing stream within our own city limits here in Pasadena. The only place I'd ever seen such a thing was taking family road trips up in the Sierras, So, all right, the Sierra Nevada mountains, I expect to see streams, but not a 5-minute bus drive away. But to see that in my own hills, and this is a photo of our little canyon. We hung out here well into high school, and even after we could drive, we'd hang out. One year we built a little hut out of palm fronds that were thrown on the edge of the street. And that was our hangout for like 8 months until the county tore that place down. But we used to hang out, so that's me exploring my little canyon up there when I was maybe a junior in high school. Go up where the little stream was, and again, it was just a fun place to be a kid in Pasadena and to grow up in the hills. It was really magical. So this is home. This is the older I got, even up into high school, I felt more and more a connection to this place where I had all my memories, and that my family raised me, and where I grew up, and where I had all my friends. My last year of high school was a bit of a tougher year for me. My dad passed away that year. That was a tough thing to deal with when I was 17. But something that I found solace in were my hills, were my deer trails, was my city, this beautiful view, our mountains. And I realized that, I love this place, I love the community we have here, and this is always going to be there, right? I always have this. I always have our beautiful place, our beautiful home, right? So that's something I still feel to this day, that, this greater place, this land that we all share, my beautiful city, Pasadena, our hills, right? That this is always here for us, and this is where all my memories are. This is where, well, not all of them, but this is where so much of your love is, right? Is where you grew up, and so that's very important. Where I have my roots set, right? Well, as I get older, I don't know how many years ago that was, but after I was in high school, probably. This beautiful view of the hills from my street, beautiful street I grew up in. I grew up thinking I lived in the country when I was very young, when I was a little kid, right, in the 90s. I thought I lived in the country. Why not? I look out my window, I see these beautiful hills, photos I was showing you. I got canyons, I got a river gushing out. It's a beautiful place. I thought I lived immersed in nature. I like to call it an illusion of wilderness. I was surrounded by these beautiful hills, and this is what happened to our hills. It's continuing to happen to our beautiful hills here in Pasadena. Once I got a bit older, they started to get graded and destroyed. And that beautiful view, that illusion of wilderness, that just gave me so much comfort growing up, that made it such a special, unique place, was completely shattered for me. And these hills are still being carved up today, our beautiful San Rafael Hills. The view from my street's been destroyed. I look out my window, and I still live in a beautiful place. We all do. This is beautiful land that we share, but this really, it really struck me. This type of development, this type of destruction, building these big mansions insensitively. I mean, we all need a place to live, but to just desecrate our hilltops like that, to me, was just, it was devastating. Another thing, growing up in the Arroyo, is that, I like to run. I like to ride my bike. I became a long-distance runner. I love to run our beautiful trails here in the Arroyo. And I started noticing more and more as I explored the Arroyo and ran all over the place, all this trash. There's just total neglect in our Arroyo. Plastic pollution, styrofoam. I started to learn more and more, do more and more research, and realize, wow, this stuff never biodegrades, it never goes away. This is a disaster. Who cares about this? So what I started doing was I started volunteering with local organizations in the Arroyo Seco, Sierra Club, Arroyo Seco Foundation, and doing trash cleanups. And I said, hey, I want to volunteer. Well, we don't really have anyone doing trash cleanups. They put me in charge. So I started cleaning trash, and it's that's something that I think comes from a place of love. This is my home, right? And so having that sense of setting down roots and loving where I live, right? This place-based spirituality, as I'm talking about, really, I had no choice. There were times I couldn't sleep at night because I was thinking about this stuff all going into the ocean, going into our river. So it really spurred me into action. Another thing I got involved with was a local land conservancy, the Arroyos Foothills Conservancy, and that's the organization that you're all supporting today, to help save our beautiful hills, to help save the type of canyons like the ones above my street that I grew up exploring and that had such a deep impression on me. This photo right here is actually right here in Pasadena, Cottonwood Canyon. It's a very essential wildlife corridor with a lot of history, early Pasadena history, and a lot of really wonderful habitat. It's a really special place. I hope we can talk about that later after the service. And this is the type of places that we're working to preserve right here in our hills, and that you're all supporting today. And of course, I work with youth. I'm the program administrator, so I work doing educational programs to really develop that next generation of stewards, because I've learned from experience that planting those seeds with young kids, at some point it'll germinate, and you might make a bigger impression than you really realize. I don't really know what my next slide is. What's this? So this is something that we're working on. We're working on creating wildlife corridors and linking all of our natural open spaces throughout our region. We have a really great regional vision that I'd love to talk to you all about later, but this is really what you're supporting, our wildlife corridors to support our local neighbors right here that share this land with us. And so I won't get too deeply into that right now, but let's see if I have anything else. I think that's it. So anyway, I just like to end with, I feel like we live in an era where so many people are moving around. So many people are cut off from their roots, right? Our countries, our families move across the country all the time in different cities. And what I think is really important about the theme of today, about really using your head and your heart for action, for using your hands, is, I feel like, again, it all comes from a place of love, and wherever you are, you have to love where you live. You have to love it. You have to set down roots wherever you are and become a person of that land. because we're all part of the story of this land, and that's what we all have in common, isn't it? Is this land, is our community, right? Each other. So wherever you are, learn to, go somewhere that you love and set down roots, even if you're there only for a while. Get to know the history, get to know the culture of that place, get to know the community, get to know the land itself and the animals and the plants, and really set down those roots, because, when we love a place, right, that's when we take care of it. And I think a lot of the trash and the crazy development, that comes from people who don't care about where they are. If we all cared about where we were, if we had a spiritual connection to our land, imagine what kind of world we live in. Everywhere you go, people love where they live, right? Imagine what that would create. So that's what I'd like to share with you all today. Wherever you are, please just set down those roots, learn to love it, and we're gonna really improve the world. Okay? So thank you very much.